There is no such thing as bad business. Understand that. If there's one thing that you should take out of this podcast is the following. So that $5,000 that you left with over here, that $5,000 is going to be the money, the entire money you have to invest in the new business that you're going forwards. That was the position I was in January of 2021. This I wanted to open a wholesale business, and I wanted to do that with as minimal money as possible, and I wanted to do that with as minimal expense as possible. Why? Because I know if I'm able to make a business successful with minimal capital, once the business proves itself right, when you invest more capital in it or reinvest the capital that you make, you're going to create a snowball effect, and snowball effect is slowly going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's where we're at. We've been doing this since January 1st. We're in November of 13th, 14th today, and everything, knock on wood, is going good. We're averaging about $30,000 a month gross sales, and that's after discounts. So the reason I'm saying that, we were doing actually $0 up until then, and we decided to start with the $5,000. Now, $5,000, you have multiple ways to go. All right, talking a little over here. I need to take a little break too. So $5,000 to go. What you want to do is you want to quickly figure out your assets and your liabilities. If you're not familiar what the asset is, what the liability is, then definitely write that down also, assets, liabilities, and do a research on what they stand for. And if you're familiar with it, then it's going to make more sense to you. But however, either way, I want you to pay attention. You need to figure out your assets and liabilities. It is very, very important to keep the ratio of your money coming in versus the money going out. I want you to think of it as a swimming pool. If the swimming pool has a hole in it size of this marker, and the swimming pool is filling up with water from the top with double the size of the marker, that swimming pool will never run out of water. In fact, it will overflow. Same thing, I want you to look at it as assets and liabilities. Liability is that small marker, sharpie size hole on the bottom of the swimming pool. That's your liability. That's what takes money out of your pocket. Assets is that double size of the sharpie from the top, pouring more water in the pool. So from the bottom that it's leaking down, it still offsets, and in fact, it overflows. The goal is for your business to do the same, but instead of water, it's going to represent the cash. So hence why it's called the cash flow. You want to make sure your business always has more water coming in, more cash coming in. There's more cash flow in than cash flow out. In order to do that, the best way to do that, from my experience, is by having a tight grip on the expenses from the start of that business. And when I'm saying from the get, I'm not talking about from the time when you get your corporation papers. I'm talking about from the time when it's in your head, and it's you're brainstorming, you're deciding what to do and how to go about it. I'm talking about at that time. So in order to do that, you need to you figure out what your assets and liabilities are. Assets, liabilities is going to be, what money comes in, what money goes out. In my case, I decided that I'm going to do the work. I'm not going to hire anybody. And in this case, I'm going to be the person that goes out, gets the customers. I'm going to be the person that reorders the products. I'm going to be the person that picks the products up from the factory and delivers it to our warehouse. I'm going to be the person to the package. I'm sorry. I'm going to be the person to package the products and take it to our customers. I'm also going to be the person making sure the finances and accounting is handled properly, and account and dealing with the accountants. So I'm going to be. Those are the top positions I mentioned. There's on sub positions under them as well. If you've done a business, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's simpler said than done. However, it is doable. and many people are successful, and you could be very well one of them, if not even more successful. It all gonna depends on all the brainstorming that you're going to do, and it's all going to depend on how well you can balance your assets and liabilities, and how well you can balance your risk and reward, because the risk tolerance is very important in business. If you don't have risk tolerance, you need to learn how to have it, because that's what's going to determine the speed of your business's growth as well. You need to have very high risk tolerance, because business, think about it, 95% of the businesses fail in the first 3 to 5 years. 95% of the businesses fail. Why? That's not because they're doing bad business. There's no such thing as bad business. Understand that. If there's one thing that you should take out of this podcast, is the following: get rid of the understanding that there is such thing as bad business. There isn't. There is bad business people. The business is bad. The business is not bad. The people managing are bad at managing. So there's a difference in that. If you're looking at a business and you feel that you can do better than the person doing it, you may very well be right. However, that comes with its own challenges and consistencies, so on and so forth. But if you're someone who's not shy from hard work and dedication and smart work, ultimately, then my friend, America is the land of opportunities for you, because that's how I see it. Bottom line, we had 5,000 to go. $5,000. Now we decided to go selling items, wholesaling out items. Wholesaling out items to retail stores. In the beginning, since 2015, the first retail store. 2011, I was in a service business. We had a car wash, big car wash, 11,000 square feet. After 2 years, we sold it. We got into retail business. Man, retail business, everything was going well. We're expanding, and next thing we know, pandemic happened, and we realized there's such thing as essential and non-essential. We decided to go with essential wholesale business. Now we wanted to this sell. We had the idea of wholesale, but we didn't know what item to sell. I had a few options. I could have gone in a different field and started a completely new wholesale niche, or got into a completely new niche, or getting to a wholesale in the niche that I've been doing retail as. The reason that made the more sense to me is because now I can have wholesale where our own retail stores can shop from. At the same time, the our own retail stores that we had, our competition, other retail stores next to us that were around us, those customers can also shop from us. Now they're not just competition taking money from us. Now we're partners, because the customer, instead of buying it from us, let's say they decide to go buy it over there sometimes, we're not losing money on that anymore either, because that customer may very well end up buying the item that store bought it from our wholesale. So that's what that we decided to go in a wholesale in the same field that our retail stores were in. And that move was actually one of the very smartest move we could have done, because what it did multiple things. Instead of we're spending our time learning a whole complete new field, we actually already knew the field. All we had to do is go out and get the customers. Now, how do you go out and get the customers as retail stores? It's either very simple, or it's either very complicated. It depends on whoever's doing it. To me, I think it's very simple. It's just a matter of hard work. Plain and simple grinding, old school door knocking, hard work. I swear to God, it's plain and simple like that. What I decided to do, instead of going after Yelp accounts, instead of going after Google accounts, instead of going after coupons and so on and so forth, advertising, instead of going after celebrities and so on and so forth, to possibly push the item out, what I decided to do, I decided to go right direct to the person who has the money, who is going to make the money, who is also going to make the decision of whether that item should be in their retail store for their customers or not. So I decided to go directly to the source. That was another good decision that actually I made. So what happened was, I set a goal. If I'm going to see 10 to 15 customers, if I'm able to go to 10 to 15 businesses per day, provide my item, and make a deal with them, then most likely, if I do it well, I'll have anywhere from 10 to 20% closing ratio, and I'm putting it at the absolute lowest. I'm going with the bottom numbers, and reality end up being 3 to 4 times actually better, but I'm calculating with the low bottom numbers. And if I see 10 to 15 customers and I close, let's say 15-20% of them, you're looking at 1 to 3 customers a day. If I can close 1 to 3 customers a day, then you're looking at each customer assuming going to buy about $800 worth. Let's say each customer buys about $800, all right? And you have 5,000 to go. 5,000. Now let's do a quick calculation. Let's take out the calculation real quick and see what's going on. We have $5,000. Now this actually, I didn't do it in the beginning. I learned it afterwards. If I did this in the beginning, I would have been able to grow the business a lot faster. And I'm going to let you guys know so you can actually avoid doing the mistake I did, and you can actually catapult your business to the and create that frog lip effect for your business to the next level. What I did was each customer, I assume they're going to do $800 worth of product buying from me. Now that number, it sounds good, but what I could have done is I could have cut that number in half and done it in 400. And I could have had the one customer cost me $400 instead of $800. Now that's bittersweet because at the end you make more, at the same time your risk is higher. So I learned that afterwards. I'm going to give you an example on the number that actually is going to be a lot more business savvy and business efficient from the wholesale owner perspective. So we have $5,000 initial seed money to play with after spending the $3,000 acquiring the incorporation and getting our proper licensings. After that, our goal is to get 400 to spend $400 to sign up a per retail store. A single retail store is going to be our customer. So if we get the $5,000 and we divide that, let's do this. Divide that $400. Divide that 400. That's going to give us 12.5. So that's going to give us 12.5, 12 and a half. Let's count 12 customers. That's going to give us 12 customers. So we're going to put 12 customers. So that's going to give us 12 customers. Keep that in mind. So with $5,000, we're able to sign up 12 customers. If we're going to see if we're going to see 10 to 15 stores a day to pitch our product, then our closing ratio is 10 to 20%. We're getting about 1 to 3 stores a day.